Okay, so y'all, in that last video, you saw how I was just introducing, exactly like where I am right now and which I missed over the past like year and some change. It's been a year and some change. It has been about a year and a half. But what I will say is I did find my father's family. Which was beautiful in itself. My grandmother and I were doing some research and trying to figure out like exactly who my family was. I didn't have much to go off of. My mom did kind of come in the YouTube comments and say that his name was D. And I actually was able to pinpoint who my father's family was. And so once I kind of got the nature of how like he passed away, because he died a month before I was born. If you watch the videos, you would see that. And I was able to pinpoint like who my grandfather is, the family last name, what that looks like. And my last name is Malloy. And it turns out my grandfather is the first Black police chief in this small city called Laurinburg, North Carolina. I reached out to them. I wanted to find my family before my birthday last year, before I turned 28 last year. And I did. I found them a week before my birthday. I had given up, as you can see in like the last video of me trying to find my birth father's family, I was hurt. I was tore up, and it was hard. It was really hard. So it was really hard for me to kind of continue. So it went from like, I think that was back in July where I did that last test with that last family. Shout out to them. They were such a beautiful family. They still call me their niece to this day and family to this day. I still talk to them often, actually. They're very sweet people. Sorry, my knees all in. I got on clothes, I promise. I just like to sit like this. But I really, really, really found family in those people. But I was getting my car serviced at the Honda dealership, and I decided to kind of call the police station. I only knew about who my grandfather was, what his name was, that he had retired and he was the first Black police chief, and he was doing poetry from there on out. I saw an article about him. And then I called the police station. I looked up the number. I called them and I let them know. They were like, wow, like, what is the nature of your call? I tell them, like, I believe that's my biological grandfather, all of this stuff. And next thing you know, my cousin, who's the current Black police chief in the town, called me and was like, hey, who are you? Asking, questions. Of course, somebody, says something like that. It gets a little, it gets a little weird. So I sent him pictures, and it turns out I look just like my father. Just like him. Whole face, everything. Ears, eyes, teeth, booty, chin, all of that. I look just like that man. Skin tone, all of it. And from there, I wound up talking to my uncle. Then I talked to my grandparents. I got on video chat with them, and they were like, whoa, you look more like him on here than you do in the pictures. They were just like, she's ours. This our baby, right? So they said, my grandmother's like, and she's like, my grandmother's like, oh, when you coming down? I'm like, I really wanted to meet y'all before my birthday. My birthday's, and it was literally a week before my birthday last year. And then I was like, oh, my birthday's next week. They were like, your birthday's next week. His birthday's next week. Turns out my father's birthday is the day after mine. Same birthday, same face. So it was meant. It was like written in the stars for me to find my family, like crazy. So I don't know. I took a leap and I drove from Atlanta to Laurinburg, North Carolina by myself. and I stayed at my grandparents' house. And it was just the most beautiful thing in the world. Like, everybody was coming over, family members, like my great aunts and stuff were coming, great uncles, cousins were coming, and it was like a big adult baby shower. They were bringing gifts. Because I think I left a couple days before my birthday, and they gave me a surprise birthday party, which was the coolest thing ever. They put me on a family tree. They did so many things, and I was boohoo crying. I have videos. I look a mess, but I have videos. I will share them. I'll share them. But it was just so beautiful that I was just embraced the way that I was. People were coming in. Next thing you people were coming in the house to see me, and they were like, "Oh yeah, who does that look like?" And they were like, "That's D." My dad's nickname. And it was just hilarious because everybody was just staring at me. And one of my great uncles just kept staring at me every time we would talk. He would just stop and just stare like, yo, like, I look just like my biological father, which is so crazy because I always felt like I looked different. My grandmother, my mom's mom, was like, where does baby come from when I was born? And she like recalled saying that because I just don't look like them. Like, I don't. I look like my daddy's side of the family, for real. Like, I look like my grandmother, who my dad looks like. And it's hilarious. Actually, the chin came from my grandfather, which is hilarious. But yeah, I look just like them. I met so many people, so many cousins, so many uncles, so many family members, and it was just such a beautiful time. And it was just exactly what I prayed for as a kid. Like, as a kid, I would cry and pray and hope that my dad's family would, because I knew that my father had passed. But I would just cry and pray and hope that my family would embrace me the way that they did, and they did, and some. Threw me a birthday party, and it was just the cutest, the sweetest thing that I could ever have, and I love it. I found out I have an older brother. I call him my ghetto twin, Ryan. I love you. He is 4 months older than me, which I'm not used to because I'm used to being the oldest. So I was like, I don't know about that, but yeah, like we've since then it's been a year, and we've kind of had some disagreements, but the love isn't lost on my end, at least. And I know on their end it isn't lost. We've had some disagreements, which I'll tell y'all another time. But yeah, nothing can top what I felt after finding them, what I felt, everything that I wanted and I needed out of that moment, that time of meeting them, I got plus some. And that's what I'm grateful for. I can finally close that chapter of wondering and trying to figure out and knowing. I did the Ancestry DNA test also, and I found like, distant family members, because no one like close in my family, like my grandparents or like my uncle and them have done the test. They live in a small town, so I wouldn't expect them to do a test like that. They know like everybody in that town almost relates to me, damn near. So like, yeah, I have like distant family members that have like the family last name that are on my ancestry. So I was like, yeah, I know for sure. I still think I want to get a DNA test just to be like 100,000%, but like I'm 99.99% sure that that's my dad and my family, and they are too. So I'm like, I don't know. That part of me, I'm like, it's not just a check mark for me. It's like something is fulfilled on the inside of me. yeah, so like I'm sprinkling pictures and videos so you guys can see. I know people have been asking me for this. People have been messaging me and asking me like, "Yo, I've been following your journey. Where is the last video? Did you find them? If you found them, can you send it? Show us, like, you know." So that's it. And my little heart is full. I found where I came from, y'all. I found my people, the people that I look like, and while it's a complicated situation, and while it, you know, the journey was so hard, I'm so grateful that I did it. And now I'm 29 years old. It's been a year since I've known, and I could tell the growth um, that I've had, and the things that I've had to, kind of confront since finding them. And I'm grateful for that. And there was a lot of truth that I had to stand in and had to stand firm, even though people didn't, agree with what I was doing and how I was finding my family. I'm so grateful that I did. And I'm so happy. And no one who hasn't been through this will ever understand, like, what this feels and what this means to me. And I know. And I'm sitting in that, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm so happy, and I'm so fulfilled, and I'm moving forward with that chapter closed. And hopefully, like, my relationships with them can build. I have the most amazing cousins. I have a really, really amazing brother, who our relationship is deepening. So I'm grateful. So that's the story, y'all. Thank y'all for following. Thank y'all for, holding your hand with me when it was rough out there. Okay, I was fighting for my life. Okay. There's even aspects of the videos that I did take a video. Some things happened that summer as well that I'm thinking about releasing because it was a lot, though. But yeah, thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for supporting the prayers, the comments. I watched, I've read all of them, and I was so grateful. And yeah, stay tuned for I think I'm gonna like do a couple of interviews with some of my family members that, what they thought when they met me and stuff like that in the future. So stay tuned for that because the journey isn't over. It's only just begun. So yeah. Thank y'all.